beans. It's a mesclun mix. Just transplanted a couple of extra romaines in there. We're going to be also added some kale. At the moment we're doing pick and plant. Some of them are about to bolt, so we've got to get Giddy in there and start pulling some of the growth off a bit more aggressively, but there'll be another planting there before soon. We will be adding some lettuce. We've got sweet yellow peppers. Look at those. Obviously this is our crazy zucchini patch, which if you look in there I think you can start to see some. We got more coming in. We already had our first one out of here and it tasted delicious. Got more coming over here. Pretty good. Then we've got our mixed beans. Runner beans and bush beans. We already had our first harvest off of the bush beans. Our first for this year. We've never grown these before. These are kohlrabi. These will be interesting. Supposed to be really good. Don't know. I just noticed that we have some. Oh, that's just dirt. Okay. I was worried that was. Oh, you know what? That might have been where eggs were. I think in fact that is what that was. That's where eggs were. No longer. Alright, as always we've got dill growing everywhere. This is the butternut squash. English cucumbers, which for those of you in England are cucumbers as opposed to the field cucumbers that are quite common here. These things are growing like crazy. Trying to encourage everything to come this way, away from the fence. Definitely something that we're going to be doing from now on. We're definitely going to be growing more and more stuff vertically. We've got a very, oh, there's our best candidate right here. Over here on this side, you can see it's coming right in. Watch out for that pepper. Left foot. And over here we have. Then we've got watermelon. These are another pepper, ever-present dill. Then Brussels sprouts. These here are loofahs, which until recently we believe grew under the sea, but of course they don't. That's sponges. So these are loofahs that you would scrub yourself with. Apparently you can eat them when they're really tiny, but we're just going to grow them just for the heck of it, and then probably end up scrubbing ourselves with them in the shower. Over here we've got our this crop here is we're having to let it go to leaf, let it go all feathery and ferny for next year. You can actually dig this up out of ditches locally, but it's fun to grow it at home rather than having to slither around in a ditch.
That would be asparagus.
Asparagus, thank you. That is completely what I forgot, what that was called there for a moment. Anyway, this will eventually be a very healthy asparagus. We don't know what the hell this is.
If you know, say so in the comments.
Say so, because we just grew it and it kept coming. I thought initially it was something edible, and it might be edible, but we don't think it's a vegetable. So I have no idea what that is, but I think it's really neat looking. Rhubarb, which is going great guns. Look over here, we've got our chives. They grow like weeds, they do really well. Basil, parsley, thistles. Be good for pollinators. Right now they're covered in fish flies.
Ah, yes.
Won't be here for much longer. We're into that pattern. And we have our pear tree with our one lonely pear on it, which I think is still pearing.
The squirrels get everything else.
So yeah, there we go. Our one solitary pear. We have to bag up. Okay. Now we're over here. Potatoes. This is our first planting of potatoes. They are actually starting to yellow off a bit now. So pretty soon we'll probably make another video about that. We'll be tipping these out and harvesting potatoes out of our garbage cans, which is kind of exciting. Okay, now tomatoes. We've got actually three kinds of tomatoes here. These over here are slices. As you can see, they're coming in really well. We've probably had our best year yet for tomatoes, depending on where you're from. These are really coming in. This has been much more successful. We've been a lot more diligent about pinching stuff out, taking these suckers out, and as you can see, it's yielded quite spectacular results. So yes, these over here are slices on the left. The ones right in front of you are cherry tomatoes, and there are an awful lot of them coming in pretty soon. We're going to be inundated, and then these two over here, we're not entirely sure what those are because those came from seed, correct? I think.
Just random seed that we saved from last year's, and I can't remember what they were, and I didn't expect them to work.
We've got two more peppers. You might notice a theme here about trying to grow peppers. We haven't had much success with peppers in the past, so this year we're actually going for a gang approach. You just grow 100. Not quite 100, but if we grow as many plants as possible,
I think there's like 30.
Yes, we'll get like a decent yield. Then we're into collards, which we discovered last year. Unfortunately, only one of these is taken, so I've just got some late ones starting, and I'm going to put those in later. Please ignore the weeds. Next over down here we've got radicchio and carrots. Then we have a row of beets. And then turnips. And we've got some more radicchio. I forget what this is.
I think it's also a cauliflower.
I think that is that a second cauliflower? Because the leaves look different. That looks more like a collard, but I don't know what this is.
Sometimes you get surprises.
Yes, that could be we don't know. That is a cauliflower.
The only one that survived.
Yes, the other one at the other end did not. A few more lonely carrots. The opened up bed that you see there is a second planting of carrots. When we clear all the surface crops out of here, we're then going to do a late planting with a whole bunch of different carrots, and we'll see what happens there. Now, the pepper patch. Same idea, we've got some yellowing going on over here, which apparently could be nutrient or watering. So I'm going to put some cow manure on top of that and see if that helps. Because I don't think it's a watering issue, because everything's being watered the same. In this tray down here we've got starts for late spinach, and the larger square ones, and the smaller planters there are leeks, and we're just seeing if those will take, and if they do, then again we'll be making room. We've got another zucchini. Tomatoes. These are the collard starts that I was talking about earlier. This one's a bit wilty.
A little more water.
A bit more water. I'm just going to pop in the shade for now.
Okay.
That one may not survive. These here, this is actually tomato rockets, which came from our dollar store. This is an experiment. These are two more of the slices over there, and I have actually managed to propagate these from bits that I cut off those.
Like overgrown suckers?
Overgrown suckers.
Yeah.
Yes. So, hopefully.
They wilted for like 2 days.
They looked awful for a couple of days, but we kept hanging on and watering them, and now they seem to have recovered quite well. Obviously another late gang to potatoes. No, tomatoes, whatever you want to call them. This here is another two collards that I'm trying to bring in late. You'll notice there's a theme here with collards. We grew them last year and they were fantastic, but then we discovered they're an amazing freezer crop. So, spectacular actually, and they freeze really well and they taste great. We're still eating freezer collards from last year, and really good greens.
If you like to cook in your crock pot,
oh, they're fat.
You will like to add collards to your soup.
Onions. This was like a gorilla bed that I put in. There we go, right next to there we have our Viking log bench. Ta-da! That I made. Hand built. Telegraph pole. And it is surprisingly comfortable. No fasteners, whole thing just locked together, it's flat. Shows the lathe that. And it is ridiculously comfortable. It's not actually a Viking log bench, I just made that up. It's a log bench. That's pretty much it, I think. Oh, show the greenhouse if you want. Greenhouse.
All from old used windows that we collected.
And then last thing is over here there's a hot pipe.
Or 20.
Or 20. Oh, we also, oh yeah, we've got blackberries. Ad hoc sunshade, which seems to be mostly inhabited by fish flies. We've got strawberries. Over here we've got blackberries. Behind there is a red currant bush, which we got an enormous harvest from this year. That's already picked and in the freezer. That'll be making red currant jam later. This is our crazy looking grapevine, which actually, since I hacked it back, seems to be producing grapes. But I don't think they're edible grapes.
We'll have
or
to
wine grapes.
look into that
we'll
for next year.
If not, clearly you can grow a grapevine here, so maybe I should just replace it with an actual grapevine. That would seem to be handy. And here is our compost, which I've got to deal with today. That's got to be turned over and watered, as it is blisteringly hot. Southern Ontario in the high summer. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.